Hey guys, welcome back to the Foolish Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. News broke late this afternoon that Michigan had come to the ultimate easy, about time decision to fire offensive coordinator Kirk Campbell. And yeah, about time. I mean, just waiting for this. And I'm happy this happened as early as it did, right? I mean, it just leads into the questions. I think tomorrow is National Signing Day, the early period one. And so you're wondering if this will have any impact on maybe some offensive guys. Maybe they're going to, instead of signing tomorrow, maybe they'll wait till, the second signing day to see who Michigan gets as the offensive coordinator. But you know what? You had to get rid of him. You had to just rip off the Band-Aid. I know in previous episodes I thought maybe you could keep him as a co-OC or something, not give him any play calling abilities, maybe something like that. But again, too, once you lost Brady Hart and once you lost Carter Smith, I think it was Carter Smith, it's like his two four-star quarterbacks that he was recruiting, there's really not much reason to keep him around. Maybe he had a good rapport with Bryce Underwood, but yeah, I hope that losing a terrible OC isn't going to be a deterrent to Bryce Underwood. I know college football is a lot about relationships, but sounds like Underwood is, more about the dollar sign. So hopefully he'll be able to and want to stick with Michigan moving forward. A positive of this, though, is you're ripping the Band-Aid off, right? Michigan is going to go with a committee offensive coordinator for the bowl game, the bowl prep. I know in other seasons, other teams have gone off and hired an offensive coordinator, and they could come in and kind of watch practice and such. There might be some rules about them not being able to coach the same year where they got fired or something, or came into a new job. I don't know, whatever. But I can never remember a new OC coaching in a bowl game. Usually they just watch, and that's fine with me, honestly. And you give some younger people a chance to show what they got. You also get a chance to, let the OC, the new OC perhaps, because Sharon Moore said he's going to do a nationwide search. Hopefully he'll get a good pick in here. Hey, what about anything to do with Baltimore? Or, I know a lot of people talk about getting Brian Griese from San Francisco. They're kind of having a down year. He's, I think, their quarterback coach at San Francisco. So maybe he could come back to Michigan. Not a bad thing at all to get Michigan legends to come back. It worked pretty good with Mike Hart, just saying, and some others like that. But anyways, when you hear these stats, it's crazy that he wouldn't be fired. I mean, just listen to these. Offensive yards per game, 128 out of 134 teams. Yards per play, 122 out of 134. First downs, 125 out of 134. But the offense scored below 20 points 6 times this year. That doesn't, obviously you got your cupcake games in there, right? This is a terrible stat. 4 plays of 40-plus yards on the season. Only 4. And, well, you got the run against USC by Mullings. That was just a run, a beast mode run. That had nothing to do with the OC. And I wonder, maybe the other ones were flea flickers or something. I really wonder what the other 3 plays of 40-plus yards are. It's terrible. And this is the most, condemning one of all. I know Michigan wants to be a passing team, a running first team. But when you are only 4 teams are behind you in passing yards per game, and they're Iowa and 3 service academies, that tells you how pathetic the offense was, right? And not surprisingly, side tidbit to that, Morris, wide receiver, he went in the portal today. It's kind of an interesting timing, because if you knew Michigan's offense was going to be kind of this regressed, at least depleted offensively, you'd think it maybe would have gone to the portal last year. But now he's going to the portal this year, so whatever. I mean, good luck to him. I always remember that touchdown he had against Alabama in the playoff game. Very nice play. The Eric All play where they all, 3 guys go that way and 1 guy goes that way, and they hit him and he goes for the touchdown. So, Kirk Campbell fired. Yay! I'm just glad that Sharon Moore didn't do what I see a lot of coaches do in the end of their years and such, is where they'll just reshuffle the deck chairs, right? So you just give everyone a new job. You don't want to fire anyone. just all of a sudden, you were the OC. Why don't you be like the tight end coach and just don't want to fire anyone and keep everyone, and we'll try it again next year. I'm glad Sharon Moore didn't do that. He was a problem, and the offense was horrible. And yeah, you got to get rid of him because honestly, it was bad, and people were even like losing patience with Sharon Moore, even though it's his first year. But definitely, people are getting sick of Campbell, and like, you got to get rid of this guy, or people are really going to be wanting to get rid of you next year for sure. So Sharon Moore fires Kirk Campbell. Hey, unexpected, kind of nice. Another nice note, I saw Nate Marshall flip back from Auburn. If you remember this year, summer I think it was, he flipped from Michigan to Auburn. The idea again was a nice NIL package. Now Michigan's seems to be going full throttle with NIL money of their own. He flips back to Michigan. My brother was writing to me. He's like, I'm really interested to see what Sharon Moore can do in recruiting, since he's not going to be dooming recruiting like Jim Harbaugh would always do, sabotaging it. You know what I mean? Every offseason, Jim Harbaugh would, flirt with the NFL. And if you're a recruit, you want to know your coach is at least going to be around for a while. And every year, every offseason, he's flirting with the NFL. So can Michigan get a really good class year after year after year now because their head coach isn't going to the NFL? So there goes your reverse or your anti or your negative recruiting, right? And now think about the rivals of Michigan. Think about this a little bit. They used to always go say that to Harbaugh. Oh, he's going to leave. Don't go there. Okay, fine. That's a good strategy. I grant that. But Sharon Moore, if you're recruiting against Ohio State or against Michigan State, what are they going to say? Don't go to Michigan? They beat us? Even though they were having a terrible down year, they still beat us? Ohio State, a 6-5 team, came in and beat us, the number 2 team in the country? Don't go to him. He knows how to get something out of his players. They won the rivalry games. They just got to work on getting the offense going. If you had a good offense, Michigan, if you had a good offense and a good quarterback play and good scheme and good wide receivers, I know that's a lot of goods to add, Michigan could be a 10-2 team. Lose to Texas, lose to Oregon. Oh, I said it wrong. Ori. Oh no, I'm blanking on how to say it. Or that team, the number 1 team in the country, the Ducks. I'll just call them the Ducks. That'll work. Sorry for the people that I always say it wrong. I'll just call them the Ducks so that you guys don't get upset at me. I always say it Midwestern. I always do. And they always write me and they tell me, no, that's not how you say it. So I'm just going to call them the Ducks. Okay? Hey guys, I know my video went a little bit long there, but sum it all up. Things are changing at Michigan. Kirk Campbell's fired. Nate Marshall flips back to Michigan. Maybe Michigan can land a good wide receiver or two. There's even rumors about flipping a 5-star offensive tackle from Alabama. We'll see how that goes. Hey, fun stuff. I don't like to get too much into recruiting because with the transfer portal, these guys can just ditch and leave whenever they want, really. So it's nothing that great. So it's not like the old school. I know I'm old school. I know. But I don't care so much about recruiting because, you know what? They got to stick around if you really want to develop them and all that. Hey, guys, if you have any thoughts about I was going to call him Matt Campbell. No. Iowa State. Kirk Campbell. Any thoughts on Kirk Campbell being fired? Maybe you have some thoughts about who Michigan should hire as the new OC. I personally would go with Brian Griese, but I'm not saying he's available, but I'm in my hypothetical perfect world, Brian Griese. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and go Blue!